Hello, another day, another me. Again, as usual, driving. The weather is actually quite good outside, but it's very cold though. It looks really nice, the sun and the golden leaves and all, but yeah, it's very cold outside, so I will just enjoy from inside the car. With that said, today I want to go back to my route for a little bit, since it has been, well, it feels like it has been a while. So I want to talk about languages and language learning once again. And today, actually, I want to talk about one of the biggest hurdles most language learners, including myself, face when we decide or when we want to pick up a new language. And that is actually the beginning phase of the journey, right? The spot when you're like, okay, I'm going to start learning, I don't know, Greek. That particular first mountain is, in my opinion, is one of the most difficult. It culls a lot of people, and once you pass that point, of course, the journey won't get that much easier, but it certainly is easier. And with that said, I want to actually share 3 things that I've, based on my experience and my reflection on my past endeavors, things I would have done, things I could have done better, and things I would do if I were to restart learning some language again. And the first thing is actually, I would do more research on the language before I actually start the language. It's very easy to get into this, mood where you watch some movie or you met a girl at a library or something like that, and you just feel like, hey, I want to learn that language. Oh, I think I might want to pick up Japanese. I think I might want to pick up Chinese. I might want to pick up Italian. So, those kind of thoughts tend to come to us, especially people that are interested in language, very often. And for me, if I were to have that kind of thought and feel like I want to start something, I would actually go and do some research on the language first. I think it's good to know what kind of language I'm about to learn. And by that I mean what kind of pronunciations the language has, what kind of grammatical system the language use. Is it case-based? Is it gender-based? And all these things. Because knowing what is about to hit you in the face allows you to, curb your expectation and prepare for what about to come. And because language learning is a long and tedious journey, I think I mentioned this many times over. It's like getting married. You don't want to start a language, put lots of effort, and realize that it's not for you, or realize that it's too difficult for you, or just in general feel bad about it later. And worse, feel like you have already sunk too many hours into it and pushed through it. So, that's why, dissonance is not always a bad thing, but having certain kind of knowledge or understanding of what kind of challenge you're about to face is definitely better than just going in blind. So for me, that's the first tip I have. I would do more research. I will try to understand much more about the language I am preparing to learn. That's the first tip. Get to know the language you want to learn before you decide that, hey, I really want to learn this. As for the second thing I want to talk about is on the idea of mindset. I mentioned this last time I believe in my first or second video, maybe last video. I don't know. I don't really keep track. But I mentioned that learning language is quite different from learning other skills, whether it be music or just any other skill, because most of the other skill give you this first euphoric kick, first dopamine hit, when you learn for a few hours or a few days or even a week or so, and then you can do a lot of things. Like, for example, when you're learning guitar, you learn how to play 3-4 chords, you can play hundreds of songs. You don't get that kind of kick from language, because once you start learning language, you will feel like you know a lot of things, and then you start speaking. That's where you know that, yeah, the reality is quite harsh. And in order to push through that, one of the ways that I noticed to be very productive for me is to find small wins, small little wins in everything I do when I start learning the language. And that differs from different languages, and that differs from how you will approach a language. But maybe keep track or take notes on your progression. Make it very visible. Even if it's very, very small progress, make it visible. Knowing that you are improving, knowing that you are taking these small wins every day, I'm not guaranteeing it, but it could be enough to push you out of this dissonance and slump when it comes to learning languages. If you don't feel like you are super fluent, if you don't feel like you understand anything from like the video or any content you're watching, it can feel very discouraging, especially after like putting a few months into a language. So if you keep track of your progress and keep track of these small wins since the beginning, it will give you this mindset that you know that you're not wasting your time, and you know that you're pushing through, and that could spells like you sticking with the language or you quitting the language. So that's the second tip. And the third, at least this one is not like, how to call it, it's quite objective, because this is how I usually tend to start when it comes to learning language. So the first thing I do when I pick up language, I learn the basic, like the alphabets, the sounds, all this thing. And then the first thing I do is I make a list of fundamental grammatical points, such as how to make past tense sentences, how to use possessive case, all these things. Because at the end of the day, language tends to be very wide and very ambiguous a lot of times. But at the same time, there are very simple core grammatical rules that once you learn, you can find a way to say what you want to say in a language. And for me, I start with those points. I mean, if I don't have it in my head right now, but if anyone is interested, let me know. Maybe I'll make a list of that, starting point that you can learn when you start. Usually that's what I do, and with that, I tend to just that's how I myself could find like small wins that I was talking about, because it's quite objective. If you, no matter how much you're struggling, if there is a sentence you want to say, and you can push through and struggle your way through, and if you find yourself able to make that sentence, able to convey that message that you are trying to convey, that actually feels much better than not knowing anything at all. So again, we all have our different ways of learning languages, but for me, this is understanding these fundamentals had always helped me to find these small wins that I was talking about, and keep me consistent. So but at the end of the day, my message to you is that, one, get to know your language very well, and two, try to find a mindset that helps you look at the positive and find wins, no matter how small it is, throughout your language journey, until you get to a point where you are comfortable with what you know. And lastly, well, I give you one of the tips that I use when whenever I start to pick up a language. Not necessarily, I mean, it helps a lot, of course, knowing some basic grammatical rules and stuff, it helps a lot. But the main reason is to just get those, to make it objective enough that I know that I'm winning, even if it's extremely small. So yeah, that's pretty much for me today. And if you want to know about how I started my Norwegian, then I think, yeah, you'll probably see some video somewhere up there. So, all right. Again, sorry. I mean, as usual, I'm driving on this like mountain road, and trying to make videos, try to talk at the same time, so it doesn't feel very smooth. But hey, that's all I could do. So, thank you for sticking around with me. So hopefully I see you guys. Not hopefully, you will see me again in the next video. So, cheers. Bye. Go away.